Look at your dog or cat right now. You probably think they love you, unconditionally. You provide the food, the shelter, the affection, and in return, you figure they offer you genuine emotional loyalty, right? Well, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to put on a deeply philosophical lens and dismantle what might be humanity's most comforting myth, the myth of man's best friend.
What if your pet's love is actually a biological lie? It's a heavy thought, isn't it? I mean, what if that affectionate gaze from a golden retriever or that gentle purr from a domestic cat isn't actually love at all, but a highly sophisticated evolutionary hack? Let's dive into this, because the science we're about to unpack, it's going to completely change how you view that animal sleeping at the foot of your bed.
To really grasp this, we have to rewind and look at the brutal reality of survival in the wild. Nature, as you know, is a bloody, zero-sum game. Predators burn massive amounts of energy hunting, constantly risking injury and starvation. And the prey? They spend their entire lives in absolute terror. For millions of years, humans and wolves were locked in this exhausting struggle. There were no cozy living rooms or heated beds, just a violent, daily fight to simply see tomorrow.
But then, right around 15 to 30,000 years ago, something extraordinary shifted. A specific group of wolves realized something profound. Hunting humans was incredibly dangerous and exhausting, but scavenging near human camps? Now that was easy calories. Early humans quickly killed off the most aggressive wolves, but the docile ones, the ones that kept a safe, respectful distance, we tolerated them. They got the leftover bones, they got a free meal.
And that brings us to the fascinating concept of self-domestication. The absolutely crucial point here is that this was not some conscious friendship treaty between man and beast. No, it was pure, unfiltered natural selection, rewarding the least threatening behavior. Over generations, these wolves actually physically changed. Their adrenaline levels plummeted, their snouts got shorter. They even kept their juvenile features all the way into adulthood. Essentially, they domesticated themselves, simply because it was the most efficient way to survive.
So how exactly did they hack our brains so flawlessly? Well, enter the baby schema trigger. You see, humans are biologically hardwired to protect our young. We have this ancient, built-in trigger that practically forces us to nurture anything with large eyes and a round, soft face. It's not a choice, it's a biological imperative that we literally cannot ignore.
And the secret here lies in the literal anatomy of this manipulation. Look at wolves. They completely lack a very specific facial muscle. Dogs, on the other hand, evolved it. It's called the levator anguli oculi medialis. Why did they evolve it? Purely so they can raise their inner eyebrows. That's it. It creates that sad, vulnerable look that directly mimics a human infant. Think about that for a second. Wolves do not have this. Dogs evolved the muscle specifically to manipulate human empathy. And man, it works flawlessly. When a dog gives you those classic puppy dog eyes, a profound chemical chain reaction kicks off in your brain. A major breakthrough study by Dr. Takifumi Kikusui at Azabi University proved this biochemical hijacking. When you and a dog lock eyes, both of you experience a massive spike in oxytocin, and that is the exact same hormone that bonds a human mother to her newborn baby. Your dog hasn't just become your friend, it has biochemically hijacked your maternal instinct.
Now, let's pivot over to our feline companions. Cats are solitary ambush predators. Completely unlike wolves, they don't naturally form complex social structures. And yet, they also domesticated themselves around early agricultural settlements. Why? For one simple reason: to hunt the mice eating our grain stores. But to survive so closely alongside humans, they had to figure out a way to communicate with us. And that brings us to what's known as the solicitation purr. Here's a wild fact. Adult wildcats rarely meow at each other. Meowing is actually a behavior specifically adapted to manipulate us, humans. A chilling study out of the University of Sussex by Karen McComb revealed that house cats developed this very specific solicitation purr exclusively for when they want food. They aren't just making a pleasant sound, they are actively commanding your nervous system.
They pull this off through one exact acoustic peak match. This specific purr hides a high-frequency acoustic peak that perfectly matches the frequency of a crying human baby. Again, human brains are hardwired to find this sound utterly impossible to tune out. It triggers an immediate, overwhelming sense of urgency and nurturing. So your cat is literally broadcasting a biological distress signal that you cannot resist. It's brilliant.
Now, if this is all starting to sound like a piece of science fiction, let's look over at the famous Dmitry Belyayev fox experiment. Back in Russia, Belyaev bred silver foxes purely for tameness. He didn't care about their appearance. He only selected the ones that were the least aggressive toward humans. The results he saw, over just a handful of generations, were absolutely staggering. These foxes developed what is essentially a biological package deal for survival. Within a few generations, these purely tame foxes started doing something incredible. They started wagging their tails. Their coats became spotted, their ears flopped over. It turns out, tameness and those human-appealing juvenile features are genetically linked together. By simply appearing cute and helpless, an animal secures endless resources. There's no hunting, no freezing in the winter, no predators chasing you. It is the ultimate evolutionary strategy.
Section 4. The Paradigm Shift. Who is serving whom?
We really need to deeply reevaluate our anthropocentric view of the world here. We love to think that we humans conquered nature, that we tamed the beasts. We look at our pets as our inferiors, completely dependent on our mercy. But what if evolutionary biology suggests the exact opposite? Think about it. To be a modern pet is, in fact, to be the ultimate apex predator.
Just compare a wild predator to a house pet for a second. An apex predator, like a wild African lion, sleeps outside, fights tooth and nail for every single meal, and constantly lives under the threat of starvation. A house cat? It sleeps on a heated bed. It dines on premium wild-caught salmon, and its waste, well, that's meticulously cleaned up by an intelligent bipedal ape. Yeah, that's you, who works 40 hours a week just to fund this creature's luxurious lifestyle.
This is the absolute masterpiece of outsourced survival. Dogs and cats essentially traded the dangerous, exhausting freedom of the wild for the absolute safest ecological niche on the face of the earth: your living room. They have successfully outsourced the brutal, everyday struggle for survival entirely to us.
They didn't become our friends. They conquered us without firing a single shot. Just let that sink in for a moment. It creates a massive sense of cognitive dissonance, doesn't it? We literally celebrate our willing captivity every single time we lug a giant bag of premium pet food from the grocery store to our cars. Now, I want to be perfectly clear, this doesn't mean your pet's presence isn't genuinely comforting. That oxytocin loop we discussed, it's incredibly real. The biological bond you feel in your chest is entirely genuine. But we have to acknowledge that the foundation of this interspecies romance is actually a masterpiece of evolutionary manipulation. This is natural selection operating at its absolute highest, most cunning level.
Nature, you see, is not a fairy tale. It is a brilliant, silent, unfeeling machine. And in the ruthless, high-stakes game of survival on this planet, the absolute smartest players out there, well, they don't hunt at all. They figure out exactly how to make someone else do the hunting for them.
So, the next time your dog stares deeply into your eyes or your cat rubs affectionately against your leg, I want you to ask yourself a question. Who is the real master of the house? Are they showing you pure, unadulterated love, or are they simply pressing the exact biological buttons that ensure you will continue to serve them? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for joining me on this explainer, and as always, keep questioning the world around you.